Hey guys, you may notice that we're not in a theme park. This video is going to be slightly different. So we have a lot of new eyes on the channel, and we are getting a lot of messages and DMs and emails of just wanting to know more about us and our story and our journey and the dogs. We get asked a lot about the dogs. And so we just figured we'd sit down and share that with you, because I feel like our story is kind of unique in a lot of aspects. A little warning, there are some emotional parts to our story and to our journey. And so one and or both of us may cry. Yep.
I'm prepared.
Anna is ready. But that's okay. Crying is always okay. So I guess we'll start with our love for the theme parks. We just want to be a little more personal with you. So my love for theme parks started when I was a young kid. I don't know what my dad had against the fair, the county fair. But we didn't go to the county fair. Anytime the county fair was coming to town, we went to a theme park somewhere else. We went to Dollywood, Opryland. I barely remember Opryland, but I sort of remember going to Opryland. We went, Kings Island, Six Flags. I had family out in California. We went to Disneyland. And then, of course, we came down here to Florida and went to Universal and Busch Gardens. We never went to Disney World, which is why I have all the videos now of all my first time, because somehow we never made it to Disney World. But Universal really stuck out to me. It made a lasting impression. Jaws, I can still smell Jaws burning and confrontation. And I just remember all the magic. Embarrassing, but I remember having a big crush on Helen Hunt, who you may know as a star from Twister. There was a Twister ride here at one point at Universal, and I was excited about that. I think one of my biggest, a core memory for me, was E.T. Seriously, you do. But seriously, E.T. was very advanced for its time. It's still a wonderful ride. But the first time I ever got on E.T., I remember, Dad built it up for us. We went through the queue, and as we're going through the queue, he's like, hey, E.T. says your name. And he had talked about this before we got there. E.T. says your name. And I'm little Tyler sitting over here just getting jacked.
What, 5 or 6?
Yes, I was young. Yeah, I'm so excited. And so we're going on the ride, and we finally get up there. We get on the ride. I'm just waiting every time we turn the corner. Is E.T. saying my name? Is E.T. saying my name? And we get to the part where E.T. says your name, and the first name that comes out of his mouth, it's my dad's name. I'm so excited. The trip, I'm with one of my brothers, my sister, and my dad. And so the next name is my brother's name. Then they say a couple random people's names, and then my sister's name. And then so I'm sitting here just anticipation's building, right? I'm super excited at this point. E.T. never said my name. So, it happens, I guess. Somehow I still love Universal. That memory, it is so vivid. I don't remember a lot of stuff from that age.
Yeah.
But that is one of those stories. Now, you went when you were really young too, didn't you?
No. I was quite a bit older the first time that I went to Universal. So growing up, Harry Potter was a huge part of my childhood. An insanely huge part of my childhood. I remember laying in bed with my mom and my brother when I was little, and my mom reading the books to us. I was not old enough when the first book came out to be able to read it on my own. So she read it to the both of us a chapter a night. And so when Hogsmeade opened up at Universal, I was obsessed. Like I wanted to go there so bad. I read like all these blogs on the internet. Like I was looking up everything about Universal, looking at all the pictures I could find. I remember like I knew that Myrtle was in the bathroom. Like I knew so many things about this place. I had never been. And then they announced that Diagon Alley was gonna open up, and I was over the moon, and I bugged my parents. I mean, they probably were so sick and tired of me. And so finally they agreed to take us to Universal. So I had, it wasn't long after I graduated high school. You know, I was in like my first year or two of college. And so we took a family trip down to Universal. And I mean, it was everything that I had ever dreamed of it being. Like, the Wizarding World was amazing. The first time I walked in, I cried. Like, I was so emotional that, like, I was there, especially in Diagon Alley. It was beautiful. And, you know, what I didn't expect from that trip is I didn't expect to fall in love with the rest of the theme parks, because my family are not theme park people. We did not grow up going to theme parks. I remember one time when I was like...
We're converting them.
When I was like super little, we went to Busch Gardens, but not theme park people at all. I was not really like a roller coaster person. I remember it took my dad, we were there for 3 days, and it took him all 3 days of that trip to finally convince me to ride Rip Ride. Yeah. And like that first like 10 seconds on the climb up, I was like eyes shut, like terrified. I loved it after that though. Like I love coasters. I don't like the slow tick up. I remember my brother, he's kind of the same way, not a big coaster person. And my dad and I lied to him about Revenge of the Mummy. We told him it was a 3D ride, just like Transformer and Spider-Man, to get him on it.
To be fair, it is 3D.
I mean, he loved it in the end, so it worked out. But yeah, I was completely just, like, I loved every ounce of Universal. And as soon as I got home, I wanted to go back again. Like, I immediately was just like, okay, like, when can we go back to Universal?
One of the things that we get asked a lot is how we met. And so I guess about the time that you started, you know, finding your love for the theme parks, we stopped going. So my dad got sick. And ultimately passed away. And we just, the theme parks were kind of, they weren't on my mind. We just didn't, I didn't think about them. And right after that, I got Moose. My dad, he ended up, he had cancer. And so I was still at home and taking care of him. And I remember us having a conversation that basically, you know, I needed to stop taking care of him and take care of somebody else. And so I got Moose, and Moose was my dad's nickname. And I never get through that part. And so that's how Moose got here. And then shortly after I got Moose, we started dating.
We did.
We met through golf, and I played college golf at our local university, and I worked at the golf course at that time. And
Moose was a terrible little puppy.
Moose did not like Anna.
He was so mean.
Moose does not. Moose did not like you. He has changed. Like, yes. Moose loves.
Yes.
Moose loves you at this point, but
he was a little terror. He didn't want to share his dad.
No, like he was like, "Hey, listen, lady, I've got this figured out. It's me and this guy, and not me, you, and this guy." He was not happy when Anna showed up. But yeah, Anna showed up, and then I don't know. We had been dating for maybe a year at that point, and we got Gino.
Yes, Moose needed a play buddy.
Yeah, and yeah, he needed somebody to pick on other than
me,
than Anna, and so we got Gino, and Gino is actually named after my grandfather. Little did we know, and little did Moose know, that when he started picking on his brother, that his brother would eventually be a much larger animal than he was.
much larger.
Yeah, much bigger. So, but Gino and Moose are our world. They will be in here at some point during this. One of them's like right here. Yeah. I'm saying they'll be in our laps. They'll be breathing into the microphone. It'll be a whole thing. It's fine. We love them. I know that you guys love them. I'll put some like clips in there of them just so y'all can see them in case they don't come in here. But yeah, we started dating and we got the dogs, and
things were great.
Things were going awesome. Like, we were both in school, and
we realized that we both kind of had this shared, I guess shared, but like hidden love of Universal in particular. You know, I hadn't really visited many other theme parks, but you know, we kind of started talking. I'm pretty sure I was like, have you been to the Wizarding World? Because I was obsessed with it. And so we realized that we had this love of Universal. And so, you know, we started going to Universal together. And this was something that like we really bonded over in our relationship, because, you know, although I talked my family into it, it wasn't something that they wanted to continuously do.
And I was there every time she wanted to.
Yeah. So, you know, we started, you know, just experiencing Universal together, and it really just kind of very quickly became like our happy place. And, you know, kind of like that weird little like quirky thing that we just loved to talk about together and enjoy together.
We had to pause for a second because the dogs are here, but that's just the world now.
Hi, baby. Hi. Oh gosh, Gino's coming this way. So, you know, like we were saying, we basically, you know, we felt like we had the whole world figured out. Like we just knew everything. We had our whole lives planned. I was like a semester away from graduating with my undergraduate degree. I had a teaching job lined up. I was going to start my master's program. You were like 2 semesters away from graduating, and you were going to go to law school. And, you know, that was that. Until about halfway through my last semester, I started having headaches, which wasn't weird for me. You know, I had sinus headaches and migraines, but this headache didn't go away. I had this headache for like over a month straight. And then at the very end of the semester, I woke up one day and I couldn't see straight. I had double vision, and my eyes were crossed. And, you know, of course that's terrifying. And so, you know, first thing I do is I call like an eye doctor in town, and I get an appointment, and miraculously they were able to get me in a couple days later. The day that I went and saw this eye specialist was the day that I took my last undergraduate final. Like I took my final.
Cross-eyed through the whole final.
Yeah, I was. I remember I had to like hold it really close to my face. But so I took my final, and then I went and saw her. And the next day we were supposed to leave for Gatlinburg. So it was us, my parents, my brother and his friend. We were just going up there, staying in a cabin for a couple days, you know, right before Christmas, just to have a good time. And she looked at me and she said, "You are not leaving this town until you get an MRI." And I was like, okay, like that seemed kind of like aggressive and crazy. I was like, okay, whatever. And so the next morning, Tyler and I left later than everybody else did because I went and got an MRI, and then we drove to Gatlinburg. And I'm sure I've got pictures of the trip. Like I had like a Band-Aid on one side of my glasses so I could see, like, 'cause, you know, just out of one eye I could see straight. And so if I can find that, we'll put that up there. But so we were, at the end of that trip, Tyler and I were literally locking the gate to the cabin. Like we were on the way home. And she calls me, and she basically was like, "Hey, like, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but you have a brain tumor," which, you know, was just the most shocking news that we had ever gotten. And so we went and saw some specialists in Nashville that initially, after looking at it and, you know, kind of the location it was, they, you know, obviously it was something that had to be dealt with, but they didn't think it was going to be, you know, like a big deal or anything real scary. And so they kind of pushed my biopsy off a little bit. So my surgery wasn't scheduled until March. And February 9th, rolled around, and I woke up, and like I'd been feeling like worse and worse. But I woke up and I realized that day that I could not see out of my left eye. When I shut my right eye, there was just like a gray spot, just like a hole in my vision. And so, you know, they basically rushed me to the ER in Nashville. And they did an emergency surgery because, you know, obviously they were worried about my eye. Like pressure had built up in my brain to the point that I couldn't see out of my left eye. And so they did an emergency surgery and relieved the pressure. And thankfully, there wasn't any permanent damage to my eye. I did regain full vision. And so came home after that. and it was February 15th. The doctor,
it's easy to remember.
It is. The surgeon called, and he said, I remember he called my phone specifically, and I picked up, and he said, "Hey, like, I wanted to call you personally, because I initially told you that, like, I didn't think this was going to be like a big scary thing, but we just got the diagnosis. This is osteosarcoma, which is a type of bone cancer." That is very serious. And I know it was February 15th because right after he called, I remember we packed up in the car and we went to Walmart and we bought all of the discount Valentine's Day candy, like all of it that we could find. And
it was discounted and we spent like $50.
Yeah.
I mean, we had so much candy.
So we went back to my parents' house. Like the coffee table was just filled with candy, and just ate our, emotions. And candy. And so, the next day I was back at Vanderbilt seeing, specialist, started chemo like 3 days later.
He looked me right in the face.
He's so sweet. He's like, "Dad, what's wrong?" And so, I lost all of my hair.
Me too.
Which, it seems kind of... it seems kind of trivial, like when you're going through something like that, but like that's emotionally a really hard part of it because it's like then people can see, they see what's going on. But so, went through chemo, which of course was not fun. And 3 months in, so like 3 months after I'd been on chemo, I remember we had like the first set of scans to see how everything was going.
We were so excited.
I remember being terrified.
I was excited because we had just talked and they had said that this was a good regimen for this type of, cancer.
And they expected it to respond well and all this. And so, I had my scans and I went to the doctor's appointment and basically, it hadn't grown, which was good, but it also really hadn't gotten any smaller. So it didn't really react the way that they wanted it to, which was not good news. So they changed up, the regimen a little bit. And for 3 more months, we did chemo. It was a little bit different. I had to be there a couple more days a week, but, and so then at the end of that 3 months, we did some follow-up scans again, and it was, a little bit better than the first time, but it was kind of the same thing where it's like, okay, like, it's not worse, but it's also like not where we need it to be better. And so my oncologist decided to send me, to somebody to look at radiation. And so we go and see, this specialist, and he ends up wanting us to get another opinion about surgery. Because basically all the people we had talked about said they didn't want to touch it because all of like the nerves and the arteries and stuff, they were afraid to do surgery because they didn't want to damage something. So we went and saw, this other surgeon, and he was basically like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." Because, if there's less tumor for them to shoot a laser at, then, ideally the laser can be more effective. So we drove down to Atlanta. I guess this was in like August, and I ended up having a second brain surgery. This was like a 7-hour, very extensive brain surgery. And I remember I woke up and they sent me home the next morning. Like I had surgery, it was like early in the day, and like 8 a.m. the next day, hadn't even been like recovering for 24 hours. They, sent me home, 4-hour drive home, you'll be fine. So I went home, and then, we went on and we did radiation after that. The surgery went well. They got, basically all of it that they could see. And so then we did radiation and things were going well. I have my little radiation mask down here. That's always fun to show people. But I guess it was like 7 weeks of radiation?
Something like that.
That we did. And, at the end of it, it was kind of like, okay, like, we're good. Yeah, we're not going to do any more treatment. We're going to monitor it. Life can go back to normal.
Yeah, we went back to that whole mentality of life's good. We started...
we took a big vacation.
We took a huge vacation, went to Hawaii to celebrate, had an amazing time, and it wasn't... Anna, all through Anna's sickness, we had talked about potentially getting married. And Anna made one rule, and the rule was, I have to have hair. Like, I don't have to have a lot of it, but she said she had to have hair before I could propose. So I waited until she had hair.
Not much, but I had
Not much. I actually I proposed at a Nashville Predators game.
Yeah.
So while Anna was sick, I had become friends might be a little heavy, but he was the president of the Preds organization, Sean Henry. He arranged a meet and greet with the players, showed a lot of support. The team showed a lot of support for Anna. The jersey that y'all see back behind us in like some of our old videos, that's from that night.
That was a signed jersey.
That they all signed it.
That was a lot of fun.
Did all that. And so he helped me arrange something to help me propose to Anna.
I was clueless.
Anna was clueless. I almost gave it away because she got in the car and I was like, "Hey, we won this like sweepstakes, and like we're sitting in like we're sitting in these like really fancy seats, and we have to be there an hour and a half early though." And I'm like freaking out, like I'm losing my mind on the way up there.
I remember we hit traffic, and you were just like so stressed. I was like, "We're fine. Like it's okay. Like everything's gonna be fine." Like I should have known that something was up, but I was entirely clueless. So, of course, after we got engaged, then we had to start wedding planning. And I guess one of the first things you do is think about like the people that you're going to invite. And at one point, you know, we were counting guests, and I think we hit like 400.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a thorough thing. It was just like, these are the people we have to invite.
Oh, gosh. And so Tyler and I looked at each other, and we were just like,
that's not us.
No. Not us at all. So, you know, where did our heads go? But to a destination wedding, because, you know, less people are going to travel to a wedding that's, you know, far away. And so we started looking at Universal, and it was just a couple months after we got engaged, we took a trip to Universal to look at, you know, all of the different hotels that you can get married at. And we ended up, you know, we picked the Hard Rock. But I guess it was the June after that. So we got engaged in February. And so June, right after that, you know, everything was going great. We were wedding planning. We'd just taken our engagement pictures, and I had my first set of like scans after everything. And, you know, initially the doctors were like, "Oh yeah, everything looks fine." And then it was like a week after those scans, I started having headaches. I woke up with a headache, and then it just didn't go away. And then I guess it was a couple days later, I woke up with double vision. And so we all knew exactly what that meant. You know, the tumor was growing again. And so I went and saw the doctor that I did radiation with. And he basically told us that, you know, there's one more thing that they could do. And it was kind of like a last ditch effort. I'd had just about all the radiation that I could have in that area. And this was kind of the last thing that they could try. And thankfully, my dad called my oncologist that I had chemo with up in Nashville, and we went and saw her. And she told us about basically this experimental drug that they had been using to, you know, treat what I had. And it was something that, you know, was just getting started. And we decided to try this. And so I think it was like 2 days after my first treatment, my double vision went away, and my headaches went away. And so, you know, that was terrifying.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
There wasn't really like a clear path of what to do.
No, and when you start having to have conversations that you're not ready to have, especially when you're, you know, 21, 22 years old, there's just conversations that you shouldn't be having with that person. And so we were happy to see that the medicine was working.
Yeah.
And like full like stop on everything, because you've seen me get upset, you've seen Moose get upset. Everything's good. Like we just want y'all to know everything's fine.
Yeah.
We still go get treatment about once every 3 months.
Yeah, about 4 times a year. So like when I started this treatment, it actually just got FDA approved, which is exciting, but it initially was so new. They like didn't really have a clue about the spacing. No. So it was like every 4 weeks I had to go, and then it was every 5 weeks, and we basically just stretched it out. And now I go like every 3 months, which is nice. But yes, like everything's good. I'm at a good place. You know, I do still have to get treatment, but you know, we're at a good place right now.
Yeah. So yeah, you fast forward a little bit, and treatment's working. Once again, we're happy. We've probably started taking a little bit different outlook on life at this point.
Yes, for sure.
And our wedding date. We picked a Friday the 13th. March, Friday the 13th, 2020. And if anybody here knows, anything about Universal or Disney, you know that shortly after that wedding date, things kind of stopped happening. Park shut down.
Yep.
Our trip got cut way short. We were supposed to go to Disney. We were supposed to do all kinds of things. Our trip got cut short.
Our honeymoon got canceled.
So we came home, and I don't know, like after the wedding day was like the most fun day I've ever had at the parks.
It was perfect.
And we missed it. We missed Universal. So we started watching some of our favorite content creators at the theme parks and some of their older videos, because they couldn't make new ones, and we were just loving it. And we had some money laying around because our honeymoon was canceled. And a lot of people ask us why we started the channel, and that, I guess theoretically we started the channel because we had honeymoon money to spend on a camera. I'd never used a camera before, just picked it up and started using it. But I guess the real, to answer that question in more detail, why we started the channel, throughout all that, like I sort of alluded to, I think our perspective on a lot of things changed, and the theme parks were a happy place for us. Even when Anna was sick, it was something that we enjoyed together.
So we looked forward to,
and they were our happy place. They were there for us when we needed them. And that sounds weird, but they were. It was a place for us to sort of get away and not think about what was going on in life. As bad as it was for us, we could go somewhere and get away from it. So we decided to make our channel. And we had sort of both decided that the most important thing in life was not, me going to law school or making the most money that we could make. It was just spending more time together, because you just sort of, I don't know, things got really put into perspective, that what was important in life.
And there were times where the future wasn't guaranteed. We didn't know, if I was going to be here or not. And so then, when you kind of get the go ahead to live your life again, it's the things that you care about are way being different with each other.
Yeah. We care about hanging out with each other, and we care about the dogs. And so we started the channel, and it sounds a little dark, honestly, but in a way we had some conversations about if there was, if this thing was to come back or something like that, we would at least have the memories. I would have the videos and stuff like that. Or if, the quality of life just deteriorated a little bit, we would just have these memories of us going to the parks or talking about the parks. And then it sort of became, we did a couple tips videos, and people reached out and they were like, hey, this really helped us. And like I said, the parks were a place that we went to escape places, and we never thought that we could help other people maybe escape. As bad as our situation was, there's people out there that have it 100 times worse than we did. And so just the thought that we could help somebody else get away from that stuff and not think about it. Don't laugh at me. Not think about it for a couple of days. That was rewarding to us. Yeah. I had to pause for a second for no reason. But yeah, so we love you guys, and people started watching, and it was exciting, and we were just sharing we were just being ourselves. We don't know how else to be. We've never owned a camera before we started the channel. I hate public speaking. I hate public speaking with a passion. And
so now we do this.
And now I do this. But yeah, so after we kind of fast forward a little bit, Anna was teaching. I had my real estate license. and the channel just kept growing, and it just kept growing. And you guys, like, thanks to you guys, like we were able to, we just started. We made the decision this last summer just to pack up and move down here and do it full time. Was it the smartest thing we've ever done? Probably not, but
we're here, we're doing it.
Like we said, we took a much different outlook on life.
Yeah.
And so we decided this is what we wanted to do, and we're forever grateful because there's no real like, we can't say thank you enough through the camera for you allowing us to like be a part of y'all's trips. Like, y'all get, like, we love like the connection that we have. Like, y'all reach out to us and we have this, you know. And
when we see you guys in the parks, like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, like, I'm sorry to bother you, but like, it makes us happy.
Yeah.
and you know, makes us feel like there's a point to, like, you know, these silly videos that we're putting on the internet. And it really makes our day to know that, like, you know, we're helping other people get to the parks and, you know, touching their lives and maybe helping them save money to make it more affordable. And another thing that, like, we get all the time is people are like, y'all are so bubbly and so happy. And, you know, I guess after hearing that story, like, now our full-time job is hanging out in theme parks and making videos, and it's a dream come true.
And every day is just, I don't want to say like every day is a blessing, because like we said, we're in a good place. Like, things are going well.
Yeah.
But we do treat every day sort of like it's just, you know, like we had it all figured. Remember, we had it all figured out.
We knew exactly where our lives were going.
And you just never really know. So now we just
don't take any days for granted.
We just don't take days for granted. We wake up and, you know, it's sort of like we get to go. We're awake, like, we get to do this again, and so that's one reason that we've generally always got a smile on our face. I'm not saying we're always happy. I don't think everybody is.
No one is.
But we try to be, and we try to make every day fun and make every day exciting. And I don't know. We just never really thought that anybody would care about it. No. So honestly, like, it's humbling every day that people even watch these goofy little videos that we put on the internet. Yeah, so now we wake up every day and it's just sort of like, holy crap, we live in Florida.
We do.
And, you know, I don't know, it's a blessing, and we seriously can't thank you all enough. Like, we can't, y'all, it's impossible for us to show y'all our gratitude.
Yes.
We'll never be able to do it. Saying thank you is not enough. And so, but that's all I can say. So seriously, thank y'all. Thank you for being a part of it. And if you watch this video, hopefully this answered some of your questions. We wanted to get to know y'all a little bit more. And so we want y'all to know us and sort of our story. If you have any more questions, leave them, like, send us an email, send us message, leave it in the comments. If it's more personal and you don't really want to talk about it, like, we've got DMs on Instagram. You can
Twitter, Facebook,
wherever you want to message us, and we're kind of an open book. We don't care to obviously we don't care to let y'all in on it, because y'all do mean so much to us. But thank you guys, seriously. I don't know what else to say other than we love y'all and thank you, and thanks for listening to our story. And I guess we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
See ya.